Hey, comic book corner fans, welcome back, and it's your host Mike Spider Slayer. And guys, today we're doing something a little bit different. Welcome to Mike Spider Slayer's comic book countdown. That's right, guys. I was trying to do this on Google Plus, but Google's just not having it today, man. They're all kinds of nonsense. So I wanted to do it live, but I guess I'm just going to do it as a video. I had a lot of stuff going on this weekend. Plus, I wasn't feeling well yesterday, so I couldn't shoot really vids. So I wanted to do something a little bit different. And you guys let me know in the comments below if you like this format. Because if you like this format, I might switch it to this because it could save me time, and it actually will have me go over every comic that I purchased this week. And then if you're looking for in-depth reviews, you would be able to go on to Dark Avenger Inc. and you can see my in-depth reviews over on Dark Avenger Inc. So you'll get to see a little bit of everything. Tell me what you guys think again in the comments below. If you don't like this format, again, this is just a test. I'll just keep going to what I've always been doing. But again, I might not be able to review every comic book. This way I get to touch on a little bit of everything, give my thoughts and opinions on each book. So, with that being said, let's get started with the countdown. This week I got a total of 9 books. So, on countdown number 9, we have, boom, He-Man Masters of the Universe, issue number 6. Let's just say that this book was done by Keith Giffen. He was the writer, and the artist was Pop Mahan. This book for me, this series for me, started off really good, and I kind of got bored with it. It kind of got a little bit predictable, actually. You realize that, okay, Prince Adam, he's going to find out he's He-Man, and you're going to find out that he's going to defeat Skeletor. That's basically what this book is. It's just in between, you get to see everything that has happened until he gets to Skeletor. In each issue, you've got to see Beastman, you saw Merman, you got to see Evil Lyn, you get to see all these other characters in the book. The artwork is solid. There was a lot of different artists in this book, and you know, I can appreciate the art, but the story was just predictable. The cover's really nice because you got this fold-out cover here, which is cool, and you get to appreciate the cover art. But the story itself, I just found it was okay. You had decent pages. Like I said, the battle, it all leads to Skeletor. That's all this led to. And all the other stuff is nonsense. You got good splash pages there with Battle Cat. You got all the other characters doing battle with each other. And when this series was originally came out, it was to come out as a mini-series, 6 issues and it's done. Well, it's actually done pretty well, so now DC's decided to make it an ongoing. And I don't think this has anything to do with what's going on in the ongoing series. I could be wrong, though. So again, He-Man's doing battle with Skeletor, and we just sit there and they see them do battle, and He-Man just is like, oh, you don't understand, Skeletor. It's not Grayskull that gives me power, but I get power from Grayskull, blah, blah, blah. And he sits there and he cracks Skeletor right in the jaw, and Skeletor's just like, ah! He just sits there and he gets knocked off the edge, and he's fallen into the depths of hell. And just when you think Skeletor is dead, he's not. He's alive. Very well alive. And it just says to be continued. And he goes, what do you think? Well, obviously it's going to be continued because they're doing a new ongoing with this series. And it's going to have to do with She-Ra, and it's going to have to do with Man-at-Arms and Hordak and all those other classic characters. I will be checking it out to see how it goes, and hopefully DC doesn't screw it up. But as an overall rating for this number 9 comic of the week for me, I give it a 3 out of 5 stars. It was just average, maybe even just slightly below that grade. I like the art, but the story just got too predictable, and the series just went on a long time, and I thought maybe it didn't have to go this long. So that's it. That's number 9 on our countdown today, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. So next, number 8 on this week's countdown is Red Lantern, issue number 16. This title is called Rage with the Machines. The book is written by Peter McGillen, and our art is done by Miguel Sepulveda. I don't even know if I said that right. But in this issue, we have to see, I can never say his name right, the Red Lantern Atrocities. Can never say it right, so I'm sorry if I mispronounce this right. It just doesn't come out of my mouth right. We can see that he's on his home planet, Ryut, and he's just reliving what has happened to him. Now, I've never read Red Lanterns before until the Rise of the Third Army series, and I'll get into that a little bit later. But we can see that he's doing battle against the Manhunters, and in this issue, which has pretty good art, I like how he goes out and he's just destroying all the Manhunters, trying to get revenge of what they did to his friends and his family on the planet, which was pretty cool. But he says, I'm not going to do that. He goes, it's true, a big part of me would like to tear you to pieces and burn the whole damn murdering lot of you. But he doesn't do that. In the issue, you get to see him actually turn the Manhunters into his favor, which is pretty neat. And then back on Earth Sector 2814, you see Bleez and Rancor continuing. Bleez is trying to make him into a true Red Lantern, and that's by killing this character that I don't remember if it's his brother or whatever it is, his drunk brother, but he was just trying to kill him, and but Bleez wanted him to be tortured, and he's still too much of Rancor's still too much of an Earthman, and they just he just wimps out and kills the guy without mercy. And I guess he should have killed him, with a slow torture death to make him a true Red Lantern. We see lots of issues with his granddad, his self-conscience. So you see a story back and forth there between the two, between Atrocious and you see Rancor. We get to learn a little bit about what's happening to where the Red Lantern itself is not giving them their energy or their power. And in the book, it all goes back to Bleez and Rancor not becoming friends. They become enemies after Bleez was trying to work with Rancor, trying to seduce him, and that doesn't work, so they become massive enemies, I guess. And also now you see that the Manhunters are under the Red Lantern control, and they're going to Oa, and they're going to do battle with the Rise of the Third Army. You have Atrocitus coming up to this wall of ghosts, and we find out that the person that's been behind this whole situation that's been going on with the Manhunters is none other than Krona. And we all know what happened to Krona back in, I guess, was it the Guardians, or I don't even remember now. But he was killed, but he was an old Guardian. So pretty interesting to see. I mean, it was an okay issue. Nothing to be like, oh my God, this is the greatest issue in the world. If you're looking for a Rise of the Third Army tie-in at this point, you're not missing nothing here. So I give this one, again, another 3 out of 5 stars. This was an average book for me. So you don't have to read this if you don't want to. Next, we have number 7 on the countdown, Green Lantern Corps Annual number 1. Guys, this is tough. The Rise of the Third Army has been a complete disappointment for me at this point. And the ending of this particular story arc leading up to the Wrath of the First Lantern, it didn't really do anything for me. I was sitting here just being like, okay, okay, okay. This has been nowhere close to like Blackest Night, and I think that's where all our expectations were at this particular book. Um, my expectations were too, because at first when I saw the Rise of the Third Army, I'm like, dude, it's gonna be like Blackest Night. Jeff Johns is all over this. You got these crazy mindless looking creatures all over, and you're like, dude, this is gonna be great. It hasn't been that way at all, at least for me. There was so much hype, there was so much buildup. There was buildup for months about this book, just leading up to these Guardians about, oh, we gotta rise our Third Army, we gotta do this, we gotta eliminate the Green Lanterns. And it became like these Green Lanterns being this overwhelming juggernaut of an army, just almost impregnable to stop, to the Green Lanterns going, or I'm going to kill you with a machine gun, or I'm the White Lantern all of a sudden and I'm going to fry everybody. And it was really a disappointment. And this issue to me was just, it was too. Again, it's an average issue. It's a 3 out of 5 stars. This whole issue, you see Guy Gardner getting his ring back. You get to see this massive battle between everybody, between the Lanterns and the Guardians. You get to see that. You get to see Baz here go in with the Squirrel, Bididge, whatever his name is, opening up the Black Lantern book. And that was really interesting to see, and they get sucked into the Black Book, which is really neat. The artwork was pretty good in the book. I mean, this was nice to look at. This was a nice page, so I'll show you that again. So that was really cool. And you get to see a little bit more of John Stewart and Fatality. You get to see Mogo, regenerating after all this time, coming back to life. And really all it was just, you have Kyle Rayner and everybody else, and Guy Gardner and everybody in the Manhunters come into play, and they're going in to save the day. And you're like, here it is. Here's the battle we've been all waiting for. And you get Guy Gardner, who's all happy that he gets his ring back, and he's just using his power and destroying the Third Army creatures. Going, I mean, it was pretty insane. And, at times it shows great art, but it just didn't make really complete sense to me, because these Third Army creatures were just unstoppable. And it's just funny now how just the regular Green Lanterns just take them out like it's really nothing. And I just found myself a little confused on the whole thing. And what happens in the end is that you get the Guardians, and the Guardians come up and they just say, we need more power from the First Lantern. And basically the First Lantern has enough, and he breaks free. He's like, ah! Freaks out, breaks free, and in the end, he's just like, I'm going to destroy everything, and the universe will once again be mine. And that's what you have on the last page. So, again, as an overall story, The Rise of the Third Army is a 3 out of 5. There you go. Number 7. Number 6 on the countdown, Aquaman, issue number 16. That's right, Aquaman, issue number 16. Death in the Deep. This is the continuation of another story, Throne of Atlantis. The event of the lifetime for Aquaman. Really? Hasn't been all that great. Another average book for me. It was a 3 out of 5 book. Jeff Johns is the writer. Paul Planetier is the artist. Artwork is really nice in the book. I have nothing but good things to say about the art. It's really nice to look at the trench, all the underwater scenes. Batman is drawn nicely. Here's a good scene with Aquaman taking care of one of the creatures in the book. And here's another nice page of all our favorite character, Hawkman, taking care of some of the trench. And my opinion on this book is that it's just a lot of let's destroy the fish. So it almost reminds me of the Third Army. You know, it's not a groundbreaking thing. This should have been a series that may have stayed in the Aquaman title and maybe had the Justice League appear in it. I don't think they should have appeared. They shouldn't have had issues intertwined between each other, and I think it's to boost sales for the Aquaman title. Again, though, the art was really nice to look at. I love the art in this book. But overall, it wasn't the greatest thing. You get Cyborg in here who gets his new iron lung. He has no more human parts. So he's pretty much complete machine besides his brain. You had Batman and Superman all trapped underwater, and basically what happens is you get the Trench, who's coming out of the water now and is being controlled, and you think it's being controlled by Orm, but it's not. It's controlled by somebody else, because these Trench creatures come out of the depths of the sea and they start attacking. Like I said, they come out of the sea and they start attacking Orm's army. And you're like, dude, what's going on here? You know? And the next thing you see, that it is, spoiler, one of Aquaman's, I guess it was his like second in command, one of his person that served him, and he's looking to get revenge, and he controls the Trench now. So again, it wasn't bad, it wasn't great, it wasn't good. It's just, it should have been just an Aquaman event, not a Justice League event. And maybe with some of the Justice League characters make an appearance. And I know Jeff Johns, you know, writes the books and everything, but I just think it should have been an Aquaman event only. So that's my opinion on that, on Aquaman issue number 16. So I'm going to give this one probably 3.5 out of 5 stars. Artwork is really nice to look at Aquaman, but I won't be buying Aquaman anymore. I bought it in the beginning when it first came out, and then after the fact, I think I stopped at 7 issues, and now I haven't bought any since this series, and then I will be dropping it after that anymore. So we've gone through half. We are at 9, 8, 7, 6. Now we're in our top 5 books of the week, and number 5 has to do with The Flash, issue number 16. Never read The Flash before. Everybody told me that, you know what, Mike, you gotta get The Flash. The Flash is a good book. You should get it. You'll love it. And I was like, no. And then finally, you know what? I went to the store this past week and I said, I'll get it. I'll get this book. I'll see what it's about. Never been a huge Flash fan. Don't know too much about him. But I read the book and I quite enjoyed it. Didn't know too much what was going on, but I enjoyed it quite tremendously. The artwork is done beautifully in this, and I was quite happy, and will be purchasing future issues of The Flash. The script and the cover is done by Francis Manapul and Brian Puzzolello, and the art is done by Francis Manapul. I can't say his name quite right. But when I opened up this book and I come to pages like this, the pencils and the shading and everything else is really nice. How you see things in the past, like it takes place 5 years ago, and you see shades and you know that history. It's really nicely drawn. I really like how the two characters here, I think her name is Patty here, and she's confronting with Barry, and I like how the lights through the blinds, go on the characters. I like that detail. So it was really neat. I really don't know what the Speed Force is or anything else, but I just know I love this. I love watching him run. I just really liked it. I liked how he was confronting Gorilla Grodd and how, he was trying to outsmart him. And it was a fun issue to read. Again, more great artwork here. Loved it. So I just know that these new characters here, and I'm sorry I don't know too much about them. This one character, I guess, is having the Speed Force somehow, and they're in this tank, and I don't know what to say. I just don't know what to say because I don't know too much. But he had the Flash here was captured, and I guess he was setting Gorilla Grodd up, and he starts using the Speed Force in his brain, using it in his brain, and he was going to kill him here, and he stops the sphere from going into his head. But somehow Gorilla Grodd, I guess, gets the power in the end as well, and you can see him, he's all freaking out, and he's like, this is your final miscalculation, Flash. I can feel my powers growing exponentially, and it was pretty neat. Then you get the tank that falls in all of a sudden, and Flash is like, dude, what is up, and he's like, Iris. So this was the girl from his past about 5 years ago. So it was a good issue. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I don't remember, so much about it because I just never read it before. But The Flash was a great read. I enjoyed the artwork. And for the first time ever reading it, I can't wait to read another one. And I am going to give this issue a 4 out of 5. It was a nice read, and I heard that a lot of people don't read Flash. So I'm going to start reading it. And if, I'm going to see if I'll recommend it to other readers and maybe get more people on board with it. So Flash issue 16. So, book number 4, Avengers issue 4. Look at that coincidence, huh? So this starts a new story arc this week, and I can say this week because this book has been out basically weekly. It came out last week, it came out this week, and it's coming out next week, which is tomorrow. And Marvel, man, you guys need to chill out. Get all on the same page. Be like bi-weekly, once weekly. What do you need to do? But just don't make us spend so much god dang money, for crying out loud. This issue was pretty cool. It had to deal with Hyperion. The book is written by John Hickman, and it's art this time done by Adam Kubert. The art in this book, I actually liked it better than the last series, or in the last story arc. Art was really nice to look at. Hyperion was drawn pretty good. At times, I didn't like the way Thor was drawn. He looks like a little kid, But AIM soldiers were drawn a little bit differently, almost drawn like a type of Iron Man outfit or something like that. And I just liked in this issue how the Avengers title, the new Avengers title, and this Avengers title kind of tied in together. What it has to do with the Earth's colliding and how Hyperion lost his actual Earth, and he was actually taken in by the AIM soldiers. They were his rescuers, and we can show a page right here. He was taken in by the AIM soldiers when his Earth was blowing up, and he was actually trying to stop his worlds, the two Earths colliding together so they wouldn't end. And here were all these other Hyperions basically trying to stop everything, and he wound up being the only one left, which was really neat. But this book kind of continues off from the last story arc, where there was these bombs that laid into the ground or came from Mars that Ex Nihilo dropped, and they were changing all these people into like these caterpillars, or he was trying to reshape Earth whatnot, which was really cool. And they found out there was originally they thought there was only 5 of these bombs that hit Earth. Well, they found out there was a 6th bomb, and AIM was after this 6th one, and it comes out that it produces like this little cocoon type thing, and they start running tests and all kinds of crazy things, and they ran this test on this scientist or this intern here, and he winds up dying, and they're like, oh well, he's $200,000 in debt, so oh well. And what happens is he becomes this like vine-like creature after this thing took over for him. But it was pretty cool to see the tie-in between the 2 books. So if Hickman's writing the 2, I think they're going to be, relaying stories, I guess, back and forth. And it really, dug on Hyperion's history and things like that. And in the end, these little pod people, if you want to call them, and I'll spoil this a little bit, pop open, and you get these little babies. And Hyperion's like all about it, and he's like, okay, we can try. And it's like they're like looking at him like he's his dad or something. So I don't know, is he gonna be like Hyperion father? And at the end of the issue, and here's a spoiler, at the end of this issue here, we get to see AIM, and AIM we find out as the reader that AIM knows about a 7th bomb that the Avengers didn't know about. And what happens is they come across this right here, an unidentified character. So in the next issue, we get to see Enter the Smasher. So what this book is really starting to do now is it's starting to focus on its extended Avengers, so you get to be a little bit more familiar with them, because we all know the regular Avengers, so now we're learning about Hyperion and Smasher and what is it, Captain Universe, or all these other characters that are in the extended Avengers, which is really good, and I really enjoy that. I like, that character development, so when we see all these characters in the future, you're going to be like, oh, I know this guy, where he came from. And that's what I liked about this book. And Hickman's writing in this book is really nice. And it's nice how it kind of continued off from the last story arc, and now they're dealing with the ramifications on Earth with these bombs. So if you guys haven't read Avengers yet, I definitely suggest that you guys read Avengers and Next Avengers. They're really, really good. It looks like they're going to be tying in together. So I'm giving this one a 4 stars, 4 out of 5 as well. No action in the book, and art was a little bit inconsistent, but I did like it. So, going into the top 3, my 3rd favorite book of the week was Invincible issue number 100. If you guys are looking for an in-depth review on this, I did do an in-depth review on Dark Avenger Inc. And this book was fun. It was definitely fun in the first few pages. And all as I can say is that if you guys like Invincible and you know how Robert Kirkman gets with his, gory details in his writing, you're just going to get this. And I'm going to show this right now. It's the end of the comic book week. And if you haven't seen it yet, or if you're not going to buy Invincible, well, here you go. Splat! Oh yeah, man. I love that. Yep. Dinosaurs and Mark doing battle to the very end. And you get this. Oh yeah. Dinosaurs ripping him in half. Why he rips him in half? I don't know. You'll see. But you can see that the whole world, including the Invincible universe, is in shock. But in this book, you see that Mark obviously is not really dead. You think Robert Kirkman's going to kill off the main character? That's what I kind of was like, we got a clone situation going on, and that's what happens in the issue. But nevertheless, it was a great story. It was a great read. And it was fun to see that scene of Mark getting torn up, even though he wasn't the real Mark, and the whole world thinks that Invincible is dead, which is truly not, including Eve. We can see here she's all crying, and her parents are coming on to console her because they thought he was dead, and he's not dead. He winds up staying alive, and you get a big bombshell at the end of this issue as well, after Mark is sitting there talking with Adam Eve, saying, I got to do things differently, I have to change things, I can't deal with any more surprises. And basically Adam Eve says, I'm pregnant. And then you get the look on the face of Mark, and he's like, what? And I was like, whoa, really? So now we're going to get a baby Invincible. But this book was really good, especially those first few pages. And I said this in the in-depth review, if you guys want to check that out on Ink, that the climactic part was the last issue and in the beginning of this issue, and then you get the full story throughout the book. So I suggest that you go out and read it. It was a fun read. Invincible is great. Robert Kirkman reads it. Real great creative characters. Ryan Ottley is the artist on this book, and he's really consistent and has been on it since day one. And really fun stuff to read, guys. So Invincible issue number 100. I'm giving it a 4 out of 5. So number 2 on the list this week was Hawkeye issue number 7. Just reason being is that this deals with Hurricane Sandy, and this deals with Hurricane Sandy, and all the proceeds go to the victims of Hurricane Sandy. And it was a nice read. I actually did an in-depth review on this channel earlier in the week on about this book, so I'm not going to go too much into detail about it, but it's about 2 separate stories with it's not really separate stories, it's just 2 separate areas where Hurricane Sandy hit, and the 2 characters meet at the apartment building, which is Clint Barton and Kate Bishop. Artwork is not the regular artist on this book, but the story is a very touching tale about one of Hawkeye's friends named Grill and his father, and Grill's dealing with the loss of his mother and how Hurricane Sandy hits and things of that nature. And then the other story deals with Kate Bishop going to one of her friend's weddings and doing the right thing, getting medication and getting, running into burglars and stuff like that. And it's a really fun read, and anything that people do, to donate to charity or go out of their way for it, I'm all for it. And I said it in my in-depth review that, go out and buy this book, even if you don't read it, it's just for a good cause. And I gave this one a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I think I did a 4.5, either that or 4, one of those two. But it was a great issue. So Hawkeye issue number 7. So number 1 on this week's countdown is Superior Spider-Man. What'd you think I was going to pick? Superior Spider-Man issue number 2. This book was really, really good. I have nothing but great things to say about Superior Spider-Man. I'm all for Superior Spider-Man. It's good to see the change. It's nice to see Spidey doing things that he would never normally do, and that's what this issue really does. And it is really funny to see this book on how Superior Spider-Man or Superior Otto Octavius, whatever you want to call him now, just make friends with J. Jonah Jameson and shaking hands with him. And the funny thing is Peter Parker is in this issue, and he is in the ear of Doc Ock saying, "You can't do this. This is not the right way." And you're just laughing because Peter's just yelling his ass off, and he can't get across to him. And he's doing everything that he normally wouldn't do. And we get to see Carly Cooper in this issue having second thoughts about, what happened to Peter? Is he maybe Dr. Octopus? I don't know. But it was pretty cool. And it's just real hysterical how it's called the dating trials. And it's basically a science experiment. And, it starts off like lunch with the Watson woman and lunch with the Watson woman's second attempt. And he goes into these failures and everything else, and it just doesn't work out in the end. But this is a great book. You get to see Dr. Octopus actually, instead of making Octobots, he now makes Spider-Bots, and he makes for a more efficient Spider-Man so he can spend time with Mary Jane or other people, or not to saving the world. He doesn't like to use people anymore as his servants. He likes to use the living brain, which you kind of reprogram to work with him, which is pretty funny. So this book is, obviously my pick of the week, and the artwork is done really well. Mary Jane was just drawn tremendously here. She looks really super sexy. Peter's drawn nice. The ghost of Peter, well, it's a ghost, or is it really even a ghost? Is it his subconscious mind just in there, and you see the ghost just to get something to look at so he know he's talking? Again, nice page right here. So that was really cool. And then the end of the book, you really get to see Mary Jane and Peter, or Dr. Octopus, actually don't get together because they relive their memory. He relives memories of the past, and he finds out how their relationship truly is. But in the next issue, we get to see the possible of the vulture, because there was like vulture creatures in this book, and things like that. So my opinion on Superior Spider-Man is that it has been a great book. I think Dan Slott has done a tremendous job in writing it, and Ryan Stegman is a perfect artist for this book. And then I think we're going to get a new artist in the next story arc, and I think it'll be Roberto Ramos, because I know he's on here to do that. But it's really great to see how Dr. Octopus is changing Peter Parker's life, and it's going to be interesting to see how he continues to deal with that, and it'll be interesting how Peter tries to get back in his own body. And yeah, it's just a great book, and I enjoy it. It's just something different from all of the other Spider-Man books that we have read in the past. It just puts that new twist on things. How old will it get with when it comes time to Peter constantly yelling in his ear? Is that going to stay funny? Is it going to get annoying after a while? I don't know, but we'll see. But I'm giving this book a 4.5 out of 5 stars, or 4 out of 5, one of those. I gave it a really good in-depth review on Dark Avenger Inc., so you guys can check that out. But it was a fun issue and a fun read, and again, I am truly on board about this. So guys, tell me what you think about Superior Spider-Man, and tell me what you think about all the books that I talked about today. This is, like I said, just kind of like a test run. I'm trying to get every book talked about for the week briefly on this channel, instead of doing 1 or 2 books in depth and then switching back and forth between Dark Avenger Inc. and here. So guys, please, if you like this concept, again, let me know in the comments below. I know it's kind of a lengthy video, but you get to see everything talked about here in this series. So if you like it this way and you want me to do it this way, then I'll do it this way. If you want me to keep it the old way, I'll do it the old way. I just might not be able to review every other book. I'll still be doing in-depth reviews. They'll be in Dark Avenger Inc. So you'll get both, the best of both worlds. So guys, that's all I have for you on the countdown. Again, we had Masters of the Universe at number 9 this week. We had Red Lanterns issue 16, number 8, Green Lantern Corps Annual number 1 at 7, Aquaman at 6, The Flash at 5, Avengers at 4, Invincible at 3, Hawkeye at 2, and number 1 comic of the week was Superior Spider-Man issue number 2. So again, guys, that is it. Tell me what you think in the comments below. And guys, until the next comic book review, this is Mike Spider Slayer signing off. And I'll see you guys real soon. Take care, everyone. Thanks for watching. Bye.